What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. We got a special guest for you today. We're talking hockey, and Stephon Perreault, local hockey expert there, is here to join us today talking about the hockey. He went 8-0 in the first round, so we said, hey, we got to have him on. He contacted our own Mike Somich, and Somich said, get on there with him. He would actually be here, Somich, under the weather today, so I get to fill in, and that's all right. I like talking hockey as well. Carolina and New York in the conference semifinals of the Eastern Conference. And listen, these are two teams that it took them 7 games to get the job done. They stretched to the limits, but they were able to get it done. Joining me is hockey expert Stephon Perreault once again, and we're here to talk about this one. I think you've got a strong play in here. We kind of talked off air, so I'll let you take it away. Carolina and New York, what are you thinking?
Yeah, Carolina versus Rangers. This is going to be, I'm very excited for this series. I personally placed the single largest wager I've ever placed on a single bet. Spoiler alert, on Carolina to win the series. I just running the numbers, I'll throw out some quick data there. Rangers, they were the only team to advance that had a minus goal differential, which is crazy in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They had a goals expected for of 13.6 and a goals expected against of 24.1, which is crazy. That's a minus 8.48 differential. That comes down to one person, and that's Igor Shesterkin. Many people, said, Igor didn't have the best series, but I argue with those people. I'll argue all day long. You look at the goals that Pittsburgh scored, they are just constant defensive breakdowns in the Rangers defensive zone. It's tip-ins, backdoors, breakaways, shorthanded goals, just not really anything that Shesterkin could save. Yeah, he let in a couple, weak ones, but it happens when you're getting peppered with 45 shots a night. Carolina had a goal differential expected of 6.81, which is pretty good. The power plays are, pretty similar. Both have a pretty decent power play. Carolina struggled in the beginning and figured it out at the end. And when that power play gets clicking, it's a really good power play, much like the Rangers. An X factor as far as special teams go, which, most people don't seem to pay as much attention to special teams in the playoffs. And for some reason, including myself until, the last couple of years, people just tend to think that playoff hockey is a lot more 5-on-5. And on the contrary, there's been way more penalties called in the last 3 years in the playoffs than there has the regular season. So special teams has a huge factor in these playoffs. And if you guys don't know, Carolina has by far the best penalty kill in the league. Rod Brendamore, or their assistant coach, has that dialed in, by far the best. Right now, Vegas has the line at minus 190 for Carolina to win the series. And doing my numbers, I actually have the Rangers has the same chance, the Rangers have the same chance to beat Carolina as the Blues have to beat the Avalanche. Little discrepancy is that Avalanche are minus 400 and Carolina's minus 190. I both have the Rangers and the Blues right around a 37% chance to win the series. So obviously, hockey playoffs are crazy. Anything can happen. But right now, I have a large wager at Carolina minus 190, which, yes, it's juicy. It's playoff hockey. Anything can happen. But Rangers, in my opinion, don't have any business being in the second round. I believe Pittsburgh should have won. They were the better team in pretty much every game. Statistically, I think other than game 5, I think it was game 5. So that's where I stand. If you want a little bit better play, that's not as juicy. I also like Carolina minus 1.5 games. So Carolina to win in 6, which is standing at plus 110. So you're getting plus money for Carolina minus 1.5 games. I think that is a very good play too. I honestly think that Carolina wraps this up in 5. my prediction is Carolina in 6, just because I think Shesterkin will steal a game or two, but I think Carolina just outmatches Rangers by a lot.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on it. I felt the same way. I'm pretty strong on Carolina here. They looked very solid. I thought they beat a Boston Bruins team that was pretty darn good in the first round. And you're right. It just seems like Sidney Crosby maybe hadn't got hurt. Maybe it's Pittsburgh that's playing Carolina tomorrow night instead of the other way around. And it's the Rangers. One last thing I'll ask you about the series before we wrap it up. Carolina, and I've been a big proponent of home ice, really doesn't mean a ton in the NHL playoffs unless it's Carolina. It just seems like to me, year after year, they're the toughest team to beat on home ice. What are your kind of thoughts on that? Am I wrong about that, or do you think the home ice advantage does really mean something when it comes to Carolina?
Well, the Caniacs are crazy.
They are.
Somich will definitely back me up on that one. The Caniacs are crazy. I think in the NHL, home ice does have a huge advantage just in general. Not as far as, the atmosphere in NHL playoffs are nuts, as everybody knows, but also a huge advantage is the line matching factors. So if, which most teams and coaches are, you're line matching in the playoffs. You're putting your best defensive guys against the other team's best offensive guys. So there definitely is a mismatch for away teams that are put at a huge disadvantage. And another thing I didn't touch, which I meant to, is the goaltending situation for Carolina. Freddie Anderson was hurt the first round. He was or should have been a Vezina nominee, in my opinion. He played unbelievable all season. With that being said, Anthony Ranta also played unbelievable the first round. Played above expectations. So that is a little bit of a factor where I think just benefits Carolina even more, is you have Antti Ranta playing at a very, very high level, and potentially Anderson coming back in game 2 or game 3. When you have a Vezina level goaltender coming back, it's just added X factor for Carolina in the series.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Ranta played very, very good in that series. Probably if he doesn't play as good as he did, they may not be here. So, yeah, it's great to have both goalies. So there you go. Carolina. We're all in on Carolina. Just like sometimes in horse racing, you got to take a little bit shorter price if you feel really strongly about it. And that's how Stephon feels about Carolina. All right, we're going to get out of here on this video. But if you liked this one, don't worry. We've got series previews for all 4 of the ones coming up in the NHL with Stephon. So make sure to keep on checking out the YouTube page. We'll have you covered for the NHL. Thanks for watching, everybody.